So, you've got this amazing idea for a digital business, right? Today, we're going to break down exactly how you can take that spark and turn it into a real money-making venture.
I mean, who hasn't had that dream? You picture yourself creating an online course, maybe some killer design templates, or even an ebook. You build it once and it just works for you. That's the dream, right? Building a business that gives you freedom.
But then, reality hits, and it hits hard. You start thinking about it, and suddenly you're drowning in questions. Where do I even begin? How do I actually build this thing? What on earth should I charge for it? And oh man, am I breaking some law I don't even know about? It can feel like a total tangled mess. Well, here's the good news. It doesn't have to be. We're going to untangle that web for you with a really simple roadmap. It's built on just 4 pillars: the blueprint, the creation, the value, and the rules. Let's dive in, starting with the foundation. First up, the blueprint. Before you design a single thing, you've got to have a plan. Success isn't an accident. It's something you design from the ground up. Now, the heart of your blueprint is the business plan. And hey, don't panic. This isn't some 100-page document you write once and forget about. Think of it more like a guide for yourself. It's where you get clear on your own vision, spot potential roadblocks early, and create a roadmap you can actually use and adapt. And really, all your plan needs to do is answer a few key questions. What's the goal here? How are you going to tell people about your product? How are you going to run the day-to-day stuff and, handle the money? Just thinking through these things is what turns a cool idea into a real, solid strategy.
Okay, so you've got your blueprint, you have a direction. So the next most obvious question is, what are you actually going to make? And that leads us straight into pillar 2, the creation. This is the fun part, where your idea stops being an idea and starts becoming something real that you can sell.
Let's make this super practical with a popular example, like a Canva template. First, you design it. Quick tip, only use free elements in Canva. That way your customers never have to pay extra. Step 2, you generate a unique template link. This is key because it gives every buyer their own copy without messing up your original. Third, you pop that link into a simple PDF. That PDF is what your customer actually downloads. And finally, you create some really sharp-looking mockups to show it off. See? You just turned a simple link into a professional-looking product. All right, your product is done. It looks fantastic. But now you're at a huge crossroads, maybe one of the biggest you'll face. What's the price tag? This brings us right to pillar 3, the value. Trust me, how you price your product affects everything. Your profits, how people see your brands, all of it. So look, there are basically 2 ways to do this. There's the flawed way, where you either figure out your costs and add a little on top, or you just look at your competitors and charge a bit less. That's a race to the bottom. But then there's the smart way, value-based pricing. This completely flips the script. You stop asking, what did this cost me? And you start asking, what problem does this solve for my customer, and what is that solution truly worth to them? And if you're wondering if it really makes that big a difference, get this. Research shows that just a tiny 1% improvement in your pricing can jack up your operating profits by over 11%. That is huge. It has way more impact than getting more sales. Getting your price rate is pretty much the most powerful move you can make. So you've set your price, you've established the value. But what's the point of creating all that value if you don't protect it? And that takes us to our final and honestly non-negotiable pillar, the rules. This is all about putting up the legal guardrails to protect your hard work and your customers. I know, the word legal can sound intimidating, but it really boils down to just 4 things. First, your intellectual property, protecting your original work. Second, information privacy. If you collect customer data like emails, you have to keep it safe. Third, consumer protection. Just be honest in your marketing and have a clear refund policy. And last, contractual agreements. Your terms and conditions basically just set the rules for how people can use your stuff. Getting these basics right is what builds trust and saves you from massive headaches later.
Okay, so we have walked through all 4 pillars. Now let's bring it all home and turn this into your personal launchpad. So let's recap the action plan. It's simple, really. You start with a blueprint to give you direction. You move to creation, building something that people actually need. Then you price it based on its value, not your costs. And finally, you put the rules in place to protect the whole thing. If you nail these 4 pillars, you've built a seriously strong foundation for your business.
See? That tangled web isn't so scary when you have a map. You've got the blueprint now. The only question left is, what amazing thing are you going to build?